PB, back, week 4, video WOD blog. For everybody that is on the linear progression program over at Garnett, we are testing this week. So for the next 5 days, every day you come in, we'll be testing 2 max lifts, see how much progress we've made. On Monday, back squats and bench press. Everybody can go back to Brian's blog from this past Wednesday, read all about how we like to test them, why it's important to test them, mentality to testing, all the fun stuff that goes into this and why we're doing it. Just to reiterate a few points in there, maybe add on to a few things. When we go to test, when we set up and organize to get ready to lift a bunch of weight, what we do before we actually lift the weight is just as important as actually sitting down and standing up in a squat or benching. What I'm talking about here is if we are able to come in and get as tight as we possibly can, get that big belly breath in there, walk it out one step, get set, all the way down and up. We're going to be much more successful than if we take this bar out, we're kind of soft when we come out of the rack, and then we look down to make sure our feet are set in the right place. Now all of a sudden everybody has a whole bunch of weight on their back and they're trying to adjust their back so that they can get set in a strong position and then come down and up. If we get tight early, if we think about making the lift before we walk this thing out of the rack, we're going to be much more successful lifting significantly more weight. Same thing goes over to the bench press. If we roll those shoulders back, externally rotate, think about breaking that bar as soon as we come out of the rack. It's going to be much easier to get down, big chest, filled with air, nice and tight, and drive back up. For the cast street location, you guys are not testing this week. We still have a little bit of time here. Doing a bunch of percentage work on snatches, starting down, weights in our midfoot here, driving on the bottom, full snatch. We've all done these. Stuff we want to concentrate on today, just really driving out of those legs. Everybody's done a great job lately of pushing out of the legs, not jumping with your low back. We have seen in the past where the setup's good, we get to mid-thigh, and then everybody rushes the movement and worries about how am I going to get this weight overhead, and they think the best way is to open up and throw it overhead with their back. What we want to do is stay over that bar as long as we can, driving with those legs, jump, and then shrug underneath it. Get done with that. Bunch of position work here. We're building up to a 2-rep max overhead squat, taking it out of the rack. To get this thing overhead, we can just jerk it, then stand it up, set our feet. We can split jerk, reset. Things we want to focus on, getting those armpits forward, pushing up on that bar. I want to think if the floor is above us here, we're actively pushing up from our lats. We don't want to think about just shrugging our shoulders into our ears. It's pushing up and elevating from your lats. Butt comes back, sitting that down stick nice and tight the whole time.
1 1/4.
1 1/4, sorry about that. So it's up, nice and tight at the bottom, standing up to about parallel, back down, and then standing those things up. 2-rep max on those. The only gym that's going to be doing conditioning today is going to be the cast street location. We'll be testing 2 big lifts on Garnett. There just won't be the time or the need because you should be pretty wrecked after 2 max efforts. For conditioning, 200-meter run out to the alley, back in the gym, 10 overhead squats, which we just showed, making sure we're staying nice and tight, pushing up on that bar, and then 10 toes to bar. So we're going to come over, once we get done with the overhead squats, get a nice wide grip, up. What we want to think about when we're doing these is staying nice and tight and activating those lats, and we're pulling that bar to our feet to here. We see a lot of times people just try and roll up without using their lats, and what we end up seeing is it's really hard to just crunch your abs to get up there. Make this gymnastic, get in that hollow position that we do in warm-ups all the time, working on those hollow rocks. Staying here, nice and tight. Use those lats to pull that bar to your feet. 15 and 75 pounds for the ladies, 10 toes to bar. See you guys on Monday.